Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is session number 7, I believe, for our Transform to ABX Now series. And today we're talking about maximizing customer lifetime value with ABM and UiPath's unconventional yet genius approach to profitable, scalable account management. This is our highest registered session, so we know everybody is pretty interested in the topic of customer marketing. So joining me today is Nancy Harlan, and she is, in my book, a guru on one-to-one ABM, and I look to her for all the best practices, and also she is kind of what I would call a perfectionist when it comes to ABM, has a very pure sensibility around that, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but this is her brainchild, her program, and we're excited to share it today. And I think there's going to be some plays that you're going to want to steal. So, Nancy, let's just pause here and talk a little bit about your background and your perspective on ABM.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to chat with this extended group. Always my pleasure. Guru is, I think, a strong word, Mary. I think it's a bit strong, but I am passionate about account-based marketing. So I came into about first half of my career, I was in sales and sales management for IBM. And then I worked for Siemens Telecom for a good number of years. I did all kinds of marketing for them, everything but analyst relations and public relations and partner. So I did a lot of customer marketing. I did product marketing. I did event marketing. I did field marketing. And then I had this opportunity to move to a company called Click, a data analytics company. And I was hired to try and solve a problem that they were having. They were landing in Fortune 500 companies, but they were not expanding in those companies. So it was at Click that I actually built my first one-to-one ABM program with significant success there. We drove 60% year-over-year revenue in those accounts through one-to-one ABM. And then I moved to UiPath. I guess it's been about 2 years now, maybe 2.5 years that I've been at UiPath. Again, solving the same problem where we have these large, complex customers. And we've done great lands, but we were really not going for share of wallet. So that's what I'm doing here is I'm building and executing a one-to-one ABM program and now extending that through the Extended Accelerate program we'll talk about.
Great. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this whole purist to scale perspective, because that's a really important notion that I want to touch on today, but we'll get to that. Okay, great. So just to set the context here a little bit more, I think everybody that's on this call has already been given a mandate to drive a lot more revenue from your existing customers. You already know that engagement is really more than just connecting people at key touch points. It's really about creating positive experiences and building relationships, right? And that's how accounts grow. You got to go beyond those transactions, and you've got to have your customers really enthusiastic and acting in the role of partners in growth. And we know the numbers show if you're able to do this, you can grow revenue 40% faster. As Nancy just mentioned it at Click, it was 60% faster, improve retention by 70%, increase customer lifetime value by 1.6 over more than the other companies. So you also have a competitive edge because you've got these deep trusted relationships. But how do you do that, right? There's a real challenge in today's world. Our customer success teams are shrinking. Our account management teams are limited. Our ABM teams are even more limited. And then on the customer side, we've got these growing fragmentation of different teams within companies that need to be influenced and connected with, and they're not all sitting in the same organization. And then our budgets are shrinking. So this is kind of a challenge that I think we're all facing. And Nancy, this is kind of aligned to the situation that you've got going on right now?
Completely living this day to day here, as well as other software and high tech companies, right? We're all living this stress of shrinking internal teams, shrinking budgets, and very complex customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get to your story then, because this is yours. That's your scenario, and that's the scenarios that I know Dee's on the webinar today. I see her in the background. She's trying to solve this. Stefan, our head of sales, is trying to solve this with net new customers. This is a serious issue. So you've built a playbook that I'm actually in the process of stealing myself. So I know that everybody is here to get into that playbook. So let's just go. Okay, so talk about the program structure.
Yeah, so right now, this slide kind of depicts what my one-to-one ABM program looks like here in fiscal 25. And if you start at the left-hand side of the slide, you'll see we deliver one-to-one ABM, and we deliver what's called the Accelerate program. That program, Accelerate, is just one-to-one. But let me just define one-to-one ABM, because as Mary was saying, I'm a purist. I believe that ABM, account-based marketing, is one-to-one marketing. Not everybody believes that. Everybody believes that one-to-few and one-to-many is also account-based marketing. That's not me. And so I'm always super honest about it. But what we do with one-to-one ABM is we actually create a unique value prop. We create unique messaging. We create unique content by target audience for growth in the account. We package up that message and we push it into the account through every medium that you would normally use. We do a lot of LinkedIn advertising one-to-one. We do email, direct mail, webinars, and events, all with the idea of driving awareness and demand in the account. And we're 100% aligned to the sales strategy. The Accelerate program is exactly that, except we actually have the customer engaged. So the customer has raised their hand and said, yes, automation, which is what UiPath does. We do AI-powered automation, leader in the industry. The customer said, we want to leverage automation as a strategic initiative in our business, and we need help with marketing and communications to drive awareness and demand for automation, educate, excite, engage our user population, our potential user population. So that's what the Accelerate program is. It's just one-to-one ABM, but we work with the customer, create the plan, create the message, and we push it alongside the customer. I call that ABM on steroids, because just think about it. If you're running a webinar in traditional ABM, you're sending it out through email, what your database has, or you're sending it out in LinkedIn. With the Accelerate program, the customer is sending the invitations out for us. So we're getting broad distribution in the account. So super exciting.
That's the partnership piece right there.
And we actually brand the Accelerate program in the customer's brand guidelines. So we create a logo for the customer. We create PowerPoint templates, all so that it's the customer's program. But we're bringing the marketing and communications expertise to execute that program to the best of our ability. So
what is the value proposition of that program to the customer? Is it really value realization and expansion of this capability and technique?
It's actually, we position it with the customer as you've invested in UiPath and you're expecting a particular ROI. We're going to accelerate that ROI by getting more people onboarded and engaged than you would do. Our customers are automation and IT experts. They're not marketing and communications, right? So they make this investment and then off they go to the technical step. And we're like, well,
passionate Fred, right?
How are you going to get people to know that automation is a strategic initiative? How are you going to let HR know the possible use cases they could be deploying to improve the way they deliver human resources internal? So we really support the customer in driving accelerated ROI through the Accelerate program.
Right.
And so that's our one-to-one. Then if you see this other side of the slide, it's called the Extended Accelerate program. And this is new this year. And it really answers the issue of scalability of one-to-one ABM. As Mary had talked about, one of my biggest issues is headcount, right? So in every organization, headcount is precious and few. My ABMers each have 15 accounts each. So on the left-hand side with one-to-one ABM or Accelerate, I'm only able to do 45 accounts because I have 3 ABMers in the Americas market. So that means I'm topped out. And sales kept saying to me over the last many years, we want more. It makes a huge impact. We want more. But headcount is so hard to get, right? So I came up with a way to potentially do ABM-like activities using a different group of individuals. And we can talk more about the Extended Accelerate program and how we're actually trying to scale up one-to-one ABM while keeping it one-to-one.
People in the organization who may not have an ABM title to run ABM processes. And programs.
Exactly.
All right. So let's get in. All right. So your challenges kind of map back to the earlier challenges we talked about.
Exactly, right? So I got a tremendous amount of pressure from my CMO in the last, 18 months since I joined, which is, Nance, sales loves what you do. You're doing a great job. They love it. But I need to extend the impact of ABM. And I can't give you more headcount. So you're stuck with the 3 that you've got. I can't give you any more budget. So you're stuck with the money that you have. I'm always challenged, and I think ABM's always challenged with trying to show true impact. And what we're doing here, for those of you who struggle with proving your one-to-one program, I'll tell you, keeps me up at night. But what we're doing is we're actually capturing win stories. The problem with one-to-one ABM is that we're just one element that's approaching or swarming these accounts. We're looking at these top opportunities, these top customers, and as an organization, we're giving resources, customer success, professional services resource. We're swarming this account, technical resources, to drive customer, success and want them to have them buy more. So, but how do I, as ABM is one of those elements, how do I prove that ABM helped increase that deal size by 20%, 30%, 50%? Because it was a team effort. So yeah. I'm challenged with doing that a lot.
Yeah, that's always a big challenge with these embedded programs, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody wants an attribution point. And it's like all of these things are attributed to the success of this account.
Yeah, and we can deliver marketing metrics to show, engagement, new executive relationships we started. We have that data, right? I came from Click. I'm a data analytics driven marketer. So I've got data. I've got a dashboard that shows how I engaged and expanded relationships in that account, and from divisions, departments, all those things. But I also now collect anecdotal information from the customer and the sellers to say, this is what ABM did for us, and we wouldn't have gotten this deal without it. So I've got those lists of quotes that I use to try and prove value.
So tell us just really quickly about the engagement data. Where do you get that? What constitutes engagement in your world before we actually get into the program nuts and bolts? Because I think that's a really interesting piece of the story.
Okay. So for my traditional one-to-one ABM program, right? ABMers have 15 accounts. I'm focused on 45 accounts. We look to drive 50% year over year ARR growth in these accounts. Our company right now, I think I'm allowed to say this out loud, is running at about 28%. So we're almost doubling the revenue growth in these accounts. So that's a key metric. I'm like, as I said, I come from a sales background. I have a sales hat. And I tell my ABMers, go where the money is. Go where stack rank your 15. Where's the biggest opportunities? Go where the money is. That's where we care about. So revenue growth major. We collect that out of our sales force, right? We look at relationships at the VP and above level. We use Marketo for our events and campaigns. We're able to look at new executive relationships that have qualified or scored out in what we are doing to engage them. And once they are scored out, they qualify as a net new executive relationship we have started for sales. Last year, our goal was 15% new VP and above relationships. My team blew it out, and we got to somewhere in the range of 180% new VPs because they really targeted getting new relationships. So pretty cool. I also measure by ABM efficiency. My standard is 4 unique campaigns and events per month per ABMer. So making sure that they're doing the right things, they're doing enough activities in their accounts to drive that engagement and those results. And we also look at customer health score. That comes from our CRM system as well, making sure that those customers are having good experiences overall with UiPath. Because part of some of the things that we do through the ABM program drives adoption. There's no question it helps drive adoption, but that also helps make that big deal happen and those renewals happen. So that's how I measure one-to-one ABM right now. With The new program where we're going to talk in detail, this what I'm calling the extended accelerate, where we're making non-ABMers do ABM-like activities. We're going to look at similar types of metrics to ensure we're delivering value. You need to understand that today, this audience is doing in-account events and things like that, but there's no MarTech stack wrapped around them. So they're not, capturing responders. They're not delivering. They're doing one-to-one or one and done stuff. And these people are not being brought into our database. They're not going on the marketing journey that the rest of our customers go. So we're going to bring them into the MarTech stack, and we're going to look at influencing, amplifying, and the adoption. So we will have data as to how many individuals that we engaged actually in it that equated to licenses off the shelf adoption. We'll look again at those responders and new responders in the account, overall engagement, getting more people engaged in automation in the enterprise, executive new titles. And then we also use follows, and this is why I'm on this call, right? We use follows, and we really look at time spent and content consumed on the account follows pages. We call them automation stations. And so really important to show not just ourselves, but the broader UiPath world, how we're driving that engagement through this program.
Nancy, do you have any data correlation between engagement and growth on the accounts yet, or is that a model that you're working towards?
So we don't have all of the data points I need to officially say that ABM drove this incremental $1 million, right? Because the issue is, quite honestly, the big deal is already identified and it's in Salesforce as an opportunity. If I go into a new division or a new department and I get all kinds of people to say, I want UiPath here, what happens is their license requirements gets consumed into the already existing deal. Sure. And so I can't show that, we created a net new opportunity. And that's where I use that anecdotal where the sellers say they got us into HR, they got us into this division, they established this new executive relationship that help us, expand in supply chain or wherever else. So it's a nuance, but I think a lot of people have this with that influence marketing that we do is really how do we show that net new opportunity we've created when it's just then consumed by the existing big deal that's going to happen.
And are there any efficiency metrics here? Because you're using this anecdotal data, you're empowering these extended accelerator, these APAs, these influencers that we haven't really talked about yet, but we will in a minute. But how do you measure the impact on them as executors of this program?
I don't know yet.
Okay. All right. You and I can geek out on that all day at another time.
We're gonna do a soft launch, and we're gonna focus on 9 accounts, and we're gonna see what kind of activities are generated. And then at that point, when we do the full launch, probably in the April-May timeframe, and we go much more beyond 9 accounts to probably doubling the ABM reach, like to 45 additional accounts, that's when those kind of metrics will be set up.
Got it. All right. So let's talk about these people, these
new ABMers.
Yes, these new ABMers. Yeah. So you're an ABMer now.
Yeah, congratulations. Welcome to the team. So they're called Automation Program Advisors. We call them APAs. They are kind of like customer success, but not technical like customer success. So they are really supporting our customers in setting up best practices for their automation program. So helping them design their automation COE structure and funding and headcount, helping evangelize the automation initiative, helping educate people on what automation can do. So very much, if you think about it, their role kind of overlaps what an ABMer does, because we're all about evangelizing the automation initiative to create awareness and demand, educating new lines of business as the art of the possible with automation. So we create new energy and new requirements for automation in that department. So these APAs are already doing, especially the last 2 bullets on the slide, are already doing what I would call marketing-like events and campaigns they're just not using marketing at all to do it. So, and they're not marketers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really said to myself, they're already in the account. They've already got this purpose of driving awareness and demand into new, with new use cases and new lines of business and evangelizing the program. Why don't we kind of help them really leverage marketing best practices and marketing technologies to significantly impact these activities that they're already doing, make them much more efficient, make them much more effective in what they're already doing. So that's where this program is kind of come from. They're kind of doing stuff. They're just not doing it in with a marketing wrap.
Right. And I like to always say marketing is a process, not an event. We're going to get into this in a minute, but really wrapping the discipline of marketing around anything to make it scale within an account. Right. Okay.
One last comment. The APAs, this role, the APA automation program, this is actually a paid resource. So the customer is paying for these people. So what better way than to be able to show the customer that this is all the stuff your APA has done? Because now with this program, we'll have data and metrics to show engagement that the APAs never had before. So again, another Mr. Customer, you've already made this investment. We're going to accelerate that investment that you've made in the APA through the Extended Accelerate program.
Yep. Great. All right. So let's get into the structure that you've provided this team.
So we talked about automation program advisors, not marketers, but doing some kinds of level of engagement, awareness, and demand. The ABMers, my team of 3 ABMers in the Americas market, will become advisors, right? We don't want to put these people out there and give them, just a set of playbooks. We want to make sure that they've got people they can count on to strategize with. The customer really needs to do this. What's the best approach? So each of the ABMers will be advisors to the APAs. And then we're actually hiring an Extended Accelerate program manager. This is interesting in that this is a marketing role, but it's funded by the enterprise success team. Marketing wouldn't give me headcount to expand.
So you got some somewhere else. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and this person is really going to be like the hub, the center of excellence for this program. They'll share best practices and educate the APAs. They'll create and execute the programs using the MarTech stack, and they'll report on the program's effectiveness. So they'll really be the core, and then really help create an APA community around this program to really drive success. So those are the people that are involved.
Now, if there were 1 or 2 words or maybe a sentence that you would use to describe the perfect person for that job, what would that be?
The program manager job? Mm-hmm. Oh boy, I have a laundry list of words. I need somebody who really is an excellent marketing program manager, right? Somebody who can kind of run on their own, create and track, communicate, excite and engage, right? I mean, they really have to be that person who is living and breathing this program and making it come to life. They also need to have technical expertise, right? They need to know Salesforce. They need to know Marketo. They need to know Follows. They need to know the tools because they will be, really implementing the campaigns and events that are created in the MarTech stack. So it's kind of a combination. I'll be out, just FYI, I'll be out in market with the role in the next coming weeks. So if you don't already, follow me on LinkedIn. And if you're interested, I'd certainly love to see your resume. So
great. It's sort of like an ABM quarterback, right? It
is. It's that marketing program / ABM quarterback, that COE leader that really can help enable and execute and drive a net new program, which we all know that's a unique set of skills. So we'll be looking for that.
Got it. All right.
So that's the process will be after a tremendous amount of enablement. A process will be that the APA uncovers an opportunity to educate and engage a particular area of the business, right? The customer will say, I think there's growth opportunities in our supply chain. How can we engage individuals within our supply chain to learn more about automation and to, get excited about automation and identify use cases around automation for supply chain. So the APA naturally will get that information. It's what they do every day, right? And then they'll solicit the advice of their ABMer, and they'll say to the ABMer, this is what the customer really wants me to do. They want me to kind of surround supply chain. They want me to create communications and events around the supply chain. How would you do this? The ABMer will advise, and then they'll build this campaign event plan with the customers involved, right? You want to keep the customer involved. It's the customer's request that it will happen. And they'll build that with the program manager. So they'll actually build the agenda. They'll identify the target audience. They'll create the invitations, and they'll push them out, whether that's through our database or through the customer's distribution list. However they do it, we'll have people register for the event. We might have swag. We might have, if it's an on-site event, we might have signage, all those things. We have budget assigned to this program to really do a full marketing wrap around these events to drive awareness and demand. So that's kind of the process that we'll take it through. And then the technology is critically important. I don't expect all of these technologies will be used in the Extended Accelerate program initially, but we'll see how the program evolves and how complex and integrated the campaigns are created. But I'll just share with you guys, this is my MarTech stack for one-to-one ABM. And again, some portion of this will be used for Extended Accelerate. We use Hut3. It's a messaging agency out of the UK. They create our custom content. Drop is our account intelligence platform. It's used not just by ABM, but also by our sales organization for account intelligence. We use Zoom, just like we're on Zoom today, right, for webinars. Postal is our direct mail campaign. I can see some direct mail happening with the APA program, maybe not initially, but I could see, like, if we had an event, a thank you for attending direct mail to try and further engage, give more content. We use 6 Sense for database build and account mapping. We use On24 for webinars as well. LinkedIn for a lot of targeting, a lot of one-to-one targeting we do, and event promotion. Salesforce is our CRM. We use Marketo as our Marketo. And Follows is our customer hub or automation station. We use Follows for one-to-one. Each of our 45 one-to-one accounts have a Follows board completely dedicated to them with all their unique content, identifying their sales team, and engaging as often as possible. We push everybody in those accounts to Follows. Follows will be used at some level for the Extended Accelerate program as well. But no, our field marketing organization does one-to-few. And our ABM team in Europe does one-to-few using Follows as well. So really efficient platform if you guys have never used it before.
Nancy, do you have any prospecting platforms within this, or is because of the nature of the Extended Accelerate program, you don't really have any prospecting efforts around this because you're really just engaging people in that sort of one-to-one activity?
Yeah, so it's interesting in that our ABM program focuses only on expansion in customers. But that is not to say that we have not done one-to-few ABM treatments, industry treatments, to look at a particular market by industry and drive both customer activity as well as net new. This fiscal year, we just started our fiscal year February 1st. This fiscal year, the sales organization has a lot more focus on net new, and I believe Follows is going to be leveraged for that custom feel experience with an industry flair.
Got it. Okay. All right. So talk about this Extended Accelerate program.
Yeah. So again, these non-marketers, right? Brilliant people, non-marketers, but we're going to help them drive these ABM-like events in their accounts for awareness, demand, and adoption. So the process will be delivered by the automation program advisors. We are developing a set of playbooks right now that are the how-tos, the step-by-steps, the sample content and agendas and all those other things, invitations that they need. So this set of playbooks will focus on things like in-account events, which is like a one-to-one event, in-account webinars, hackathons, big thing in our business, a line of business events, an HR event, a supply chain event, a marketing event, really use cases for that particular role or responsibility. And then we'll also have a set of templates that the customer can use, and the APA can support the customer in using a newsletter template, an internal website template, a win story template, right? So those things are all being developed right now so that the APA will not feel like, oh God, I don't even know where to start. They'll literally have a playbook that says, here's your checklist by the time frame, 12 weeks out, 4 weeks out, 2 weeks out, day of, day after. Here's all the things you need to do. So that will be delivered to them in the next couple of weeks, this set of playbooks. And then that marketing program manager, the Extended Accelerate marketing program manager, will be their one-to-one resource. Okay, I'm going to do an event for ABC company. I've got my playbook and I work with you to do all these things. And so this marketing program manager will take them through the step-by-steps. And then we're going to measure it like we talked about, kind of very similar to one-to-one ABM.
Got it. So now running a program like this within an account, because this is marketing inside these accounts, and you're dealing with a champion who's a technical person, right? These are not marketing people. These are technical people, but you're also delivering things through their Marcom kind of infrastructure or their organizational infrastructure that may require Marcom involvement. How do you get these people involved? We're always hearing getting that champion that wants to partner with us, getting the marketing people to comply. So what does that look like?
Yeah, it's super interesting because we as marketers, we like to kind of manage, right? So a customer's marketing organization, I'd say probably 50% of the time when we're doing the full-blown one-to-one Accelerate program, not talking about Extended Accelerate right now, but the marketing person at these Fortune 500 accounts, they become part of the process. A lot of times our automation COEs in the customer's world actually has it's not a marketing title, but it's somebody who's responsible for communications out to the business. Mm-hmm. So we tend to work with them a lot. I find that the customer's marketing department becomes very involved when we bring them a brand, right? Mm-hmm. We have to make sure that we're leveraging the guidelines effectively. So I'd say 50% of the time, the actual customer's marketing department may get involved in the full-blown Accelerate program, one-to-one. In Extended Accelerate, I anticipate less of that. It will be, not as broad and extensive. It'll be much more pocketized. So I'm not worried about that at this point. If we have a customer that really wants to go a full-blown Accelerate, then we might move them from Extended back to the full-blown program and have an ABMer engaged.
Got it. All right. Okay, so here's your experience portal.
Yeah, automation station, right? So, and we develop this content for the customer, and everything we do in one-to-one goes back to this portal, right? It's constantly refreshed. It cross-sells, upsells some of our other marketing activities, like our big customer event every year. It might cross-sell and upsell an executive portal that we have going on and follows as well. But for the most part, our automation stations are all about the customer. And what I love this about is, and I remind my marketers all the time, this content is more about the customer than it is about UiPath. Right? It is our opportunity to show them that we know who they are, we know what their strategic initiatives are, and we know how we can support them through our tools, our processes, our solution set to drive towards their strategic initiatives. And that's what the focus of these pages are. Again, we use this portal for one-to-few industry and line of business campaigns into our accounts. Like we have what we call strategic growth products, or particular products that can go span across multiple counts as applicable. And so we'll develop a campaign once and we'll use follows to make it feel super, super custom to the client. Just makes us more efficient as ABMers.
Do you have a standard architecture for this? Like, the structure's similar, but then you put custom content in different areas, or is the architecture different based on the accounts?
No, it's pretty much the portal structure is the same, and we customize the areas we customize,
Okay.
and we customize the content pieces and as appropriate by account. What I like about the file structure is it is super flexible for us, in that if we agree on the structure, 9 times out of 10 it applies to whether it's one-to-one or one-to-few activities that we're doing. I did want to share, we had an absolutely outstanding direct mail campaign that took place over the holidays. And we had a highly custom box that went out to a set of about 150 executives in our top customers. And the theme was, it was a New Year's theme, thank you for last year's business, and go to this portal to learn more. So in each of the boxes, there was a little note from our head of America's sales organization, and there was a QR code in it, and they could go to the follows page, and that follows page was customized when they got there by account. So not just like their first name and their logo was on it, but there was content on it that specifically shouted out, here are the great things we accomplished together in your account. Now, here's some additional content that you'll be interested. It was really, really successful. And we're finding that executives are going back and actually sharing it, which we love when that happens.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you use Postal for that to do the dimensional, or did you use a different?
We didn't. We moved off of our old direct mail provider right after.
Got it. Because I know Postal's got some great options for dimensional and high impact mailings. Yeah. That's an awesome use. Did you put a QR code on that mailing as well to drive to the port? Awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was really, really great. The customization from end to end, even though we built the follows page once, the custom content by account right at the top was really super impactful. So we blew out the numbers for industry standard time on the page, which is great.
So you have HUT3 that creates that content and that custom content and stuff. And how often do you refresh the content on these boards?
So we're trying to get better at that. I want my ABMers to be more strategic in thinking. And, one of my passions is no one and dones, right? No campaign is one and done. What's the next step for the people who engaged and didn't engage? Where I want a well thought out integrated plan. So we're getting better at making sure that it's constantly updated and there's a step to push. So it's not as great as it should be. I keep myself up at night. I think 15 one-to-one ABM accounts is too many. So the ABMers are focused on those accounts that are on the top of their list, follow the money, as I said. So we may really look at in the coming months how we can do more one-to-few to try and drive additional activity out of the accounts that are on the lower side of the list.
Right. That's where generative AI could come in on the phone. All right. Great. So talk about just some wisdom, some Nancy wisdom. Now, I think you actually do earn the guru title. Just a ton from you today. So give us a little Nancy wisdom on your keys to success here with a program like this.
Yeah. So from a one-to-one perspective, if you're hiring a one-to-one ABMer, I highly recommend you find somebody who has sold before or who has extensive field marketing experience and is extremely passionate about being customer focused. That's if you're hiring a one-to-one. For this keys to success for the extended accelerate, using these non-marketers to do marketing activity, you need to make sure that these customer-facing resources are customer-facing, right? Customer success, professional services, sales support, all can fit into this bundle. People who are engaging and are comfortable engaging with your customers is the number one thing, because then you can have the marketing person who advises and supports and provides the playbook and executes alongside them. So it's just really making sure you've got people who are engaged with the customer as your number one thing for success. The second thing is, we need to make sure that you're not over the APA or the customer success or the sales support person. They've got a core job to do. And the reason why we're focused on the APA is because they're already doing these kinds of activities. We're just bringing them up a notch and wrapping the marketing stack around them to really make sure that we're making them better at what they're already doing. And so that's the mindset, right? So they're already overworked, but they're doing this stuff. So how can we make you more efficient, more effective on stuff you're already doing? And then I think once we get them going, they're going to do more of that stuff, right? Because they're going to learn. And then the last thing is you got to track impact. You have to be able to justify the cost to the business. So, we will track APA engagement. I don't know what the metric will be, what the goal will be, but we'll track how many and who and how often, right? We'll look at how many customers are engaging. We'll look at license adoption. Are we working, besides all the other people in the account who are working, are we working to drive adoption? And are we reducing churn and increasing IARR? So those are the ways we'll track.
Got it. So having the right person in the spot that is good at advising, can take hold of the program and be responsible for it, be very customer facing, be mindful of people's workloads, make it easy for them so that they'll just do it. And then make sure you're tracking the right things, and engagement is top of your list there. Adoption is huge. And then your financial metrics, like reducing the churn and increasing that.
Again, I think biggest struggle for ABM is, showing impact. It's the same for this extended accelerate. You have to be able to show the business how you're getting to new areas, establishing new relationships, driving adoption, increasing IAR. That's certainly what everybody looks to me for.
Yep. That's a critical role. And I can understand why you feel a lot of pressure, because you do it well, they want more. So congratulations, and I'm sorry.
There you go.
So Nancy, we talked about this. We know this is a new program at UiPath, but you did this before at Click with really excellent results. If you weren't here at the beginning of the call, it was like 60% year-over-year account growth running this program, but this is new. So what's your early indicator for success at UiPath?
So I think my gut tells me that we are going to fairly quickly expand this program from just the automation program advisors delivering it to our customer success people delivering it as well. And that will take me from 45 ABMers to 90 ABMers to an exponential number of ABMers as we grow the program. Because if we've got people in the account that are customer facing, that are doing these activities anyhow, why, once we get the infrastructure and the process and the playbooks and the metrics in place, why wouldn't we offer it to more? It's only going to deliver better results for UiPath as well as the customer, right? And so I see us growing beyond automation program advisors to including customer success people as well. And I think there's a lot of buzz around it right now, which is super exciting.
That's amazing, Nancy. I always think, really good marketers are really great at enrolling other people in the organization to do marketing. And so that's really what this is marketing being a driver and an influencer of value across everything that happens in the organization. So this is the holy grail in my mind. And also, you heard it here first, ABM's taking over the world. So it's like infiltrating everything. But it's an amazing program. I'm so thankful to you for taking the time today, because this is something that we've all been struggling with the last couple of years. And I know I'm just, over here slacking our head of account management going, we're doing this, like, this is what we're doing now. I know it takes resources and it takes time and it takes commitment for the rest of the organization, but obviously when it's done right, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you for taking the time from your super busy schedule.
Happy to. It was my privilege. I appreciate you guys inviting me to talk about it.
And you're here today, and you're hearing this first today, but next week, we're launching our Follows website engager, and that is an extension of the Follows platform that plugs straight into your website. So you can turn your website into a buyer journey accelerator. You can integrate your full campaign boards. You can personalize content or content journeys right into your current and existing website and watch your engagement grow from the first touch to all the way through to the customer lifecycle. So that's launching February 29, Leap Day, and you'll hear about it in your inbox. I'm sure your customer success people will be reaching out and letting you know that it's available, but it's an exciting new development that's been in demand from a lot of our customers to really extend the life of their boards, and we're super excited about it. We'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks next month with also a session with WatchGuard and another ABM session. So you'll want to bookmark our Transformed ABX. You can use the QR code to bookmark the Transformed ABX webinar series. You can also browse our past sessions and continue to follow us, and we're growing together. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Nancy, and we will see you next.